Okay, IT committee, January 7th, meeting at 10:15 a.m. Roll call, please.
Newtacker?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Sure?
Yep.
Young?
Yes. Call the meeting to order. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Public comment? No public comment. Mike Moltaber.
Couple things on our discussion list. Some are repeats from last month. First item is the file server, where the majority of departments back up their files and data. The space on that is full. It's been fully utilized. So we just want to discuss expanding the storage for that drive. As storage is used on servers, it impacts, it trickles down to all the different pieces in the servers. So we just wanted to have a quick discussion about that. The servers and the storage for the servers currently has roughly 1.5 terabytes of useful space. So we do have space there. It's not a huge amount, but it's plenty for the time being. The more concerning is the storage that we have for the backups. The backup storage is getting low. We've talked about this in the past, and we could add some additional drives to the backup server to accommodate that, but we just the storage on the backup server is getting low. If needed, we could add some additional drives to add more storage to the backup server. Now, or when we discuss equipment replacements, that could be additional storage could be included in purchasing with new equipment if we want to wait for the new equipment that's would be purchased in the future.
Do you remember what year we have the backup server in the schedule?
The backup server, we've been using equipment that has been used in the production areas. So we have talked about replacing the production storage, which is called a SAN, but that's been pushed back to next fiscal year. So the plan would be when that has been replaced, then we move that to the backup as backup storage, just to get more bang for the buck for equipment. So until that piece of equipment has been replaced, then we'd have more storage for the backups if we're going to use that as a plan for additional storage. Buying more brand new storage for the backups is also an option as well, and that hasn't been planned out at this time.
The only server we have for this year is the Sage server, correct?
So the virtual server that we have on the budget is the Sage server.
And then SAN, it was discussed to be on the FY22 budget.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what we have been doing in the past, once the production storage equipment has been replaced, and we take that and put that in the backup infrastructure, and that was the current plan. But it doesn't need to. It can change if needed. But so the departments are using more space, and we do have space to accommodate that. We did a review of the files being used, and there was nothing out of the ordinary. Someone wasn't backing up their personal photos or videos of the vacations. Well, no one had a vacation last year, but so no one was abusing the space as far as we can see. So, but we just wanted to bring that to note that more space needs to be used, and we do have that space, except for the backups are getting significantly lower.
So what does it take to get backup additional backup space until we replace.
Yeah, the backup server that is currently there is a older server, but it does have additional slots to add more hard drives. So I'll get some pricing and send that over to Jill. But we're looking at maybe $1,000 for additional drives as a rough estimate.
Michael, is there some evidence or some indication that what's being stored on there right now needs to be stored on there? Or things that have become obsolete that could be removed?
We didn't do a detailed review. We just looked for anything that was egregious, that obviously doesn't need to be there. Sometimes in the past, we've found that there's 3 copies of a bunch of files, duplicates, that's taken up a lot of space, or someone made a backup of files that's no longer needed. But we didn't go through and say, this is documents from 5 years ago, it's no longer on there. And there's a possibility that there could be files on there no longer needed.
Some of those documents that are on there might be that the department heads would have to get permission from Springfield in order to remove them.
It possibly, depending on which departments and what files. But but we took a quick look and there seen files that were obviously not needed anymore.
How far back?
We mentioned that someone started using the file storage more. The department started using more files that weren't being used in the past. But I don't recall it being an issue.
Yeah, I don't recall that.
I'll dig it up. I don't recall this, but again, we looked at it and there wasn't anything crazy.
Is there, when we remove stuff off the drives, there was talk that they need permission from Springfield to officially destroy some of that stuff. Is there ability to store that onto some type of hard copy media? This way it's still maintained, and if they can't shred it or remove it in some way, shape, or form, this way it's still available and it's not hanging out in the server?
Yeah, technically, I don't see a problem doing that. You can store it on the backup server or store it on, like you said, a removal device. We've done that in certain situations. So on the technical side, I don't see a problem with that.
I guess he took the words right out of my mouth that I was gonna say, this is intended to be for files that are in current use, projects or activities that are ongoing. That's fine, but if you get to some point where they're finished, either they need to get put on a hard drive, disk or something, or discarded. And I guess we need to be sure that that's what's happening before we go ahead.
Yeah, do we have like a policy of like after 5 years, not that you delete it, but you put it on a hard disk and it's removed from the service or the server or something?
Or it could be deleted. 5 years is the typical time length for other organizations. It could be 7 years. Some are indefinite. You have to keep it indefinite. That's a good question. I don't know if we have a policy for that, and it's probably per department. It's probably per document, what type of document as well. So we might not have.
The point is, we're not deleting it. Just put it on a hard drive and go put it in a safe box somewhere. Right? You just don't have to have it sitting on a server
Right, and like Michael said, you know, a lot of that is too, and I've noticed it, I can specifically talk to the finance department. There's multiple files out there that say I saved or Lacey saved, we don't necessarily need them both. So I think the first step should be if department heads can go through and look at their drives, look at their files, if there's any unnecessary, just clean it up first, and then we can go to possibly doing some sort of, copying onto, like you said, a hard, media device, and then go ahead and put it in a safety deposit box.
So do we need to set up a policy for that? Should IT do that or TMP or?
I think you need to do something, otherwise this is just gonna be a never ending.
Issue, yeah,
Especially if you don't delete old files ever.
exactly, and I.
We can,
Well, even if you don't delete it, just
we
put
can
them
set
on
up a policy, I guess.
external
Right.
hard drive.
But a lot of it is, like,
And then
even
delete it
going
off the
through, I can speak for the
You can just
finance
get it
drive,
off the
even
server.
going through there, a lot of that is just old, you know, just reports that, not even reports, but just worksheets and things like that, that we don't even use anymore. And that's stuff you don't need to keep. So, I mean, if at first the department heads will go through, take a look, have their employees take a look, if any of that random junk gets deleted out, and then we can move forward to, yeah, let's do a policy as far as however many years, if you want to back it up and clear it out.
I think if we do a policy, that's all well and good, but it's still gonna be up to the department heads to
Mhm.
cooperate with it and see it through.
Right.
I mean, there's no way you can force them to do it, I guess.
Mhm.
Can you reach out to the department heads and
Yeah, I can put out an email and just request
I mean,
that
is
they
there a
take a look
problem
and.
on your end?
Oh, no, I'm sure that we probably have 50% of the server taken care of. We have a lot of documents. But we can take them off as far as like, I mean, all of our minutes since 2000 are on the
Mhm.
server, and we have a lot of it online, so we can go through and get rid of some of those things. And then we
Well, what
also
I'm
have.
saying is, I don't know that we gotta get rid of it, so to speak.
Well, I'm saying get
Put
it
it
off
on
the
a-
server
yeah, get it off
and
the
get it
server.
on a hard drive or something. I'm just thinking about all of the election documents we have. It would be a lot. But yeah,
Maybe the
it's
key,
something
but
that
they
can
don't need to be
definitely be
readily
done.
accessed on a normal basis or something.
Do what?
I said, which we probably should keep just to have, maybe, I don't know, maybe. we don't.
Right, like, this is just a for instance that I'm sitting thinking about. For years, we've printed our own envelopes. And I know we have a million different copies of the types of envelopes in different areas, like in my folder, in Diane's folder, in Lisa's old folder, in our former IT person's old folder, and it's the same thing. And
Right.
so there's a lot of stuff that
Could be cleared
can
up.
be, yeah, so, yeah, that just scares me, thinking about going through all of that stuff.
Well, and I guess my feeling would be, I don't know how time sensitive it is, or I mean, if that's gonna take an enormous amount of time, my thing would be, yeah, it probably should be done, but it might be easier. What I would probably do is say, okay, we filter everything, and everything that's older than 7 years, 5 years,
Yes.
just take it and put it on the external hard drive,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and then you don't have to go through all of it.
right, and there's,
Probably the
like-
best thing would be to go through it, but if that's gonna take hours and days and whatever, just take it all and put it over there and
right,
put it in a lockbox, and the problem fixes itself pretty immediately without a lot of
yeah, there's a
extra
lot
labor
that we
just
could,
going through old stuff. that-
Right, and I don't know how each department is set up, like, for example, the finance department, I have a drive, Amanda has a drive, and Lacey has a drive, so as a department head, Amanda, can you please go through your drive, clean up anything you don't use, need,
Yeah.
is not pertinent, Lacey, go through yours, and we can go from there.
So the
Right, and I think that's fine.
boxes,
Yeah.
My
using
personal
more.
thing is I wouldn't spend hours.
Yeah, no.
I mean, if they can quickly do it, that's fine, but like,
Oh,
it's not, if you're,
what?
those hard drives
Those
are
are the big three.
relatively
Right,
cheap for
right.
a terabyte of data, just
Okay.
dump it on
Yeah,
there
and
and
I've
be done.
noticed,
And
no,
free up the
no,
server
And then look
space.
at 1996.
Would be my thought, I don't know, maybe.
2000.
yeah.
So you got old archive files.
It fixed its problem, you could fix the
So
problem.
No,
there's
that's fine.
potential for cleanup, I just.
Yeah.
I didn't
Maybe
want to
if
tell
Joe
anyone.
sends
No,
out
I
a
was thinking-
memo, we can see in a month or two.
Well, and that's what
where
I'm
we're at.
saying, is there's a lot of nonsense
Yeah.
that needs to be done.
Yep, yep. So we need the department to clean up before we consider.
Yeah, and I'll put out that email, Joe, and ask all the department heads to take a look at their, drives, other employees, whatever, you can delegate it, I don't really, however they wanna do it, maybe take a look at it, clean it up somehow, and then if we can go forward and perhaps, like Brian says, save it to a hard drive and whatnot.
Yeah, the departments could buy a hard drive for each department if they want a place to put things that they're not comfortable with deleting.
Right, and they're relatively not that expensive.
Okay.
Is there a way for you to look at the server and do it by date and say,
Yeah.
this is how much space we are taking up with stuff that's 5+, 7+ years old?
Yeah, I showed.
Because I'd like to know how
Yeah.
big, I mean,
I showed Jill, I did one right now, it's not based on date, it's just based on size, so we can generate whatever report is needed and to help the departments clean up files.
I think it'd be interesting to see how much, if not half the server's full of old shit that nobody uses.
Right.
All right.
Okay, next.
So moving forward, we just talked about the production storage as well. The renewal for SAN warranty support is coming up next month. So that's already in the budget, already been talked about, but I just wanted to give a reminder that we are renewing that for another year, and then hopefully we can replace that the following year. But that'll provide warranty support for another year until it gets replaced. And we got the other things. Replacements, health department is continuing to get more workstations that Adam's helping with getting set up. Nothing exciting there. We're talking the highway about replacing their Windows 7 workstations and get that on their budget. And then the 911 server is also, and the Alba server are hopefully coming up soon this year as well, as far as new equipment or projects that are happening in the next couple months. We talked about passwords in the past, about the possibility of changing the policy, making passwords longer. And we also talked about turning on two-factor for VPN remote access. We've talked about it, but I don't think we've made any decisions on that, but I just wanted to bring that up in case those two items about passwords or two-factor, if any discussion needs to be taking place, or if we just say we're not going to make any policy changes for the passwords at this time. I just wanted to bring it up because we didn't make a affirmative or negative answer to those discussions. Update on the ICN internet connection. We have it scheduled for next Tuesday, before next Tuesday, to have the test users starting to use the new internet connection, and that's one of the steps to test and get the ICN internet connection up and running. So that's continuing to go forward as planned. The last thing on my list was just to mention in the news, if you haven't seen, a company called SolarWinds was hacked, and SolarWinds is an MSP solution that provides companies with remote access and management to machines and servers. And there was a security breach in that product, and that caused a lot of news in the headlines because the U.S. government was, a lot of their entities was involved with that. Area-Wide uses SolarWinds for our MSP solutions, but it's a different branch, different software product. The one that was breached is called SolarWinds Orion. The SolarWinds product that we use is SolarWinds MSP, and they're two separate shoot-offs. The breach has no impact on the other one, but
that test for the ICN internet connection, that's gonna be
Next Tuesday.
At what time of day?
We'll start it at 9 a.m.
Mhm.
And it's for select users. I believe we selected one user in each department. And if that goes well, and without issues, or if there are issues, we fix the issues and retest again, and then we move
How long
on.
will it take?
The change will be instant, and then we'll monitor the usage throughout the day and make sure there's no problems. So,
Yeah, there's nothing to specifically inform department heads about now.
I didn't know if there
Oh.
was any.
no, it only impacts the users that are in the test.
No, I know it wasn't gonna impact the board meeting, but I meant if there was any reason for any of us to be involved or aware of what's going on.
Well, I did want to mention that, so if there are problems, specific people won't be able to access the internet. So that would be, if there was a problem, that would be the problem they would have.
Okay. Any other IT issues? Old business? Rhian, have you gotten anywhere with that document saving?
It took a while to get a response back from the Excella, representative. So we have legwork that we have to do before we're even gonna be able to get a quote. So it's gonna be going through, getting the document count, getting the roll count on the years of microfilm that we have. So haven't, gotten all of it done yet, but Cheryl is working on that.
Okay.
Jill, how's everything going with the website?
Everything is moving along. They're still in the process of kind of, creating and, moving everything over. I did get a hold of, so I thought it'd be nice to include some area photographs, kind of showcasing some of Iroquois County's best. I got a hold of, I contacted a bunch of local photographers to see if they were willing to donate any photographs digitally. A couple got back to me and said they couldn't at this time, but Karen Schaufler actually responded, and she's more than willing to do that. So we discussed just a few, like 10 to 15 photos, different places, whatnot. And she's gonna work on those and try to get them to me by the 15th. And once I have them, I'll share.
All right, how about new business? Is there a motion for adjournment? Paul, seconded by Steve. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting's adjourned at 10:40.